Hi, my name is Brian Tran. I work for a company called DJI, and I'm here today presenting them, first of all, a little video to show you guys what DJI does and what we're about.
Room 3402, charge it, please.
Cool, so that's a little video about what DJI does. We are the global leader in drones. Drones has a little bit of a negative connotation thanks to a lot of large companies like Boeing and yada. But they are unmanned aerial vehicles or unmanned aerial systems. And a little bit about the company. The company is, I can't do math, 9 years old. We started in 2006 with just about 20 employees, and in 2015 now we have over 3,500. 9 offices all over the world. China, in Shenzhen, is actually our headquarters, and I'm from the Los Angeles office. So we have a few different product lines that are geared towards quite a few different people. One of them includes the consumer products, professional and commercial, and our latest one that we're very proud of is developers. Consumer products include like the Phantom line. Many of you might have seen a little white drone flying at a beach or at a park. They're immensely popular. I would say that it is the most popular drone in the world right now. The professional applications typically are used on large movies like you saw in the video. The Last Ship is, I believe it's a Fox or an NBC show. Or it might be a movie. We have a lot of projects going on around the world, so it's hard to keep track. And then developers. The developers has an open SDK, and I'll get towards that in a different slide. But the DJI Phantom, a little bit about that. The original Phantom launched in 2013, just makes it just over 2 years old. This one is our latest one. It's the Phantom 3 Advanced, the one with the Phantom 3 Professional, excuse me. And has about 23 minutes of flight time. Depending on which model that you purchase or which model someone buys, you get a 1080p camera or a 2.7K or a 4K video recording, 12 megapixel camera which can shoot RAW directly to a little micro SD card, and has a 720p live view to a smartphone or a tablet. So there's no more need to bring out like a large TV or a monitor and a way to power that. And also, if you have a phone, you could actually stream straight to YouTube if you have an internet connection, which is pretty cool. I know that GE and one of our subcontractors actually did a Periscope straight from a drone for Drone Week, maybe like 3 weeks ago. And that was pretty cool. Our next one, this is a more commercial one, the DJI Inspire. It's about 20-25 minutes of flight time. The drone and the camera move independently of each other, so that means that one person that needs to inspect something or record a specific shot for a movie or whatever it may be, it could be controlled by 2 different operators, one for the drone and one for the camera, which makes for a very seamless and safe way of drone operation. This one also has a 12 megapixel camera, also shoots RAW, same with the 720p, live streaming, and live streaming. Now, the Matrice 100, like the one from the previous slide that you saw, that one has an onboard and a mobile SDK. The onboard lets you control the flight characteristics, and the mobile SDK lets you kind of tune that and use it on the go. So a lot of people, what they're doing that I know, they're creating like virtual reality experiences from drones with the mobile SDK. So what they're doing is writing an app and using it with Google Cardboard, and your phone's accelerometer movements actually are mapped to the gimbal control. So it makes for a really cool experience. But the possibilities of using the onboard SDK is what we are really excited about, especially when you use a system like Guidance. Guidance is really special because it has an obstacle sensing in every direction, which is different from GPS. That means that, like if a drone was flying in here, there's no GPS signal. But if I were controlling it and I lose sight of it or whatever it may be, it kind of works off of sonar, so it will know that people are there or a wall is there up to 20 meters. That's roughly 60 feet, which is really cool, and I think that Guidance by itself can be useful in many different applications. So this is just a little visual representation of Guidance and how it senses. The software development kit has also been used to 3D map buildings with the onboard. So our friends over at Pix4D actually made an app so you can fly in a grid pattern, and if you run out of battery, the drone is smart enough to come back home and then pick up where it left off to continue that grid pattern up until your map is finished. And then with their software, you can create a 3D space, which is really cool. The applications of this are, honestly, I think very endless. I've personally helped out with the agriculture department, search and rescue, sports. Live broadcasting is really cool because it's a very cheap and inexpensive way to get an aerial platform as opposed to a more traditional helicopter, which is extremely dangerous. and very costly. And the list could go on and on. And we hope that the Open SDK will help broaden all of the applications, because as a 9-year-old company, we're moving really fast, a little bit too fast for us to keep up with. But with the Open SDK, we hope that a lot of developers, a lot of new users that are probably smarter than me, can use it and to help grow their industry or whatever they need it to do. Here's some aerial images of just the creative uses. We have a lot of friends that fly over water, great stunning imageries, and great landscapes, as you see here. Cool. Does anybody have any questions?
So hold on one second. Dan's got a question. Dan, by the way, stand up and introduce yourself.
Dan Shea, ABI Research, and look to Carl for all these great conferences and new things to talk about with IoT. So here's my 2 questions.
Sure.
One is there a management platform associated with this? If you got all of these drones out there, there's got to be some way to manage them and the software associated with those drones.
Are you talking in regards to like no-fly zones or?
Whatever you want to put into that sort of capability, but someone where they can centrally see what drones are out there, update those drones with software, whatever it might be, do any sort of other sort of vertical-specific application updates that you like to do. So is that part of what you guys offer?
Yeah. So with every single firmware that we update every single drone with, like your phone is going to need to update. Like otherwise it won't work, because there's satellite updates, just firmware tweaks to make it more stable. And with a platform that's still only like 9 years old, these drones are flying, but you're still going to want the latest firmware, because it's going to be the most stable. If you're running like a previous firmware on the drone but a newer app on your phone, it actually won't talk to each other. You're going to have to wait for it to upgrade, which is still a very easy process. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Okay, but anybody who buys, say, 50 of these little drones is going to have something so they know where they're at. Unless this is an application where they're up and they're down and that's it. So I guess that's the basis of the question.
Right now, I know with the Phantom line and the Inspire line, there's not a way to do that, but we're hoping with the Matrice 100, that is a possibility, because like if you leave it on, or it creates this home position, and you would be able to monitor from a computer or an iPad where the drone is on a path if you send out multiple at a time. It's just that a lot of that software is currently being written or just simply tested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, you talked a little bit about security. Anything related to security on your with these drones that we should be keeping in mind as part of the solution?
Security in terms of like if you're worried about people peeping up into your room, these like in the Paul Bart Mall Cop 2, that was not a very accurate representation, because these drones are still flying and you are going to hear it. So I understand like if you're concerned about like personal privacy in that regard, like if people want to spy on you, they are going to spy on you. But with the drones, they will hear you because they're not quiet, because they are flying devices. But in terms of security for people taking over your drones, these all of our products have a frequency hopping spread spectrum system, which operates off of 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz for both radio and video. And since since it one hops channels, and I don't know what kind of encryption it is, but you can't have a simple 2.4 receiver or another transmitter to take control of the aircraft. And I've personally been around, I think, 20 to 25 in the air at once, without having any issues of me seeing my own video or me controlling someone else's. I've never had any issues like that.
Okay, and the last question's here.
Yes, could you please elaborate regarding the type of communication between the controller and the drone? I mean, how do you communicate with the device?
It communicates off of radio signals, but the actual, like, we have a system called Lightbridge, the DJI Lightbridge, which kind of compresses both the video feed, the HDMI video feed from the camera, and the radio signal. But how that works is beyond my. I'm just a marketing guy. I'm not an engineer. But it uses a system that we created, that, as far as I know, nobody else has come close to our technology. It's called DJI Lightbridge.
The radio itself, are you using cellular or using Wi-Fi? Do you know that?
So it uses 2.4 gigahertz.
Unlicensed. Okay.
Yeah, unlicensed FCC.
Got it. Got it. For those of us who are radio frequency junkies, we got it. I mean, you said 2.4. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Give him a round of applause, please.